Hey YouTube, this is Kevin Bolin of Bolin Small Engine, and today on the table we have a V Twin Nikki carburetor. You typically find this carburetor on a lot of your V Twin Briggs and Stratton Intec engines. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to go through the parts, okay, first, and then I'm going to show you the problem areas to these carburetors and where they typically get clogged, and a surefire method that if you have a carburetor that's surging on you or just acting erratic and acting crazy, that you can potentially fix it. I'm also going to tell you guys about a very handy trick that I learned through Mc Master Carr. They actually provide a O-ring, okay, for the jets that typically fall out of the fuel transfer. And of course this is the older style, guys. I apologize for not having the newer style, but it's the best example I have at the present moment. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead, as I said, and show you the parts, what they are and what they're called. There's a lot of people that are confused as to what these parts are and what they're potentially called. This is called a nozzle. This is a nozzle gasket. This is a retainer, okay, for your afterfire celluloid, which just happens to include a jet, okay, instead of the two main jets that actually get pressed into the newer style. If you have the newer style instead of this older style transfer, then the material is going to look a lot like this float here, and it's going to have two jets pressed in each side. This is your inlet needle, your hinge pin, and this gasket actually goes with your fuel transfer. This is an afterfire celluloid, float bowl, this is a butterfly. This is a choke shaft for the butterfly. They call this a top plate, and this is the top plate's gasket. This is a governor linkage. This is a choke linkage. This is your intake and intake and air cleaner gasket. Alright, now that I've basically explained what all the parts are, I'm going to start by telling you guys on these Nikki carburetors, they typically get clogged right here and right here. In case that was a bad example, I'm going to try to angle the carburetor and show you right here and right here. A good way to tell whether or not your carburetor is clogged is to invest in getting a stylish string light. These lights are extremely handy if you're going to work on small engines. Turn your light on. Turn it to this side right here, and as you can see, that passage is fairly clean, but look at this one. It's only about halfway clean, and that can cause this carburetor to surge, act erratic, act crazy. Don't get me wrong, you can have valve guides though, guys. There's a lot of misdiagnosed parts, okay, that go on these Briggs engines. And I'll be honest with you, more often than not, the valve guides on these V Twins, they give, and people will fight a carburetor thinking that they have a carburetor issue. So keep that in mind, guys. So in a situation like this, you can see that this jet here is clogged, or this port, if you will. I'm going to take a small drill and a pin vise. You can get these little drill bit sets online. I think they're like maybe $8. They come from China. It's just a small drill index. Turn your carb over, and I prefer that you use the smallest drill in the index to do this, guys. And you'll actually feel it give, just like that, once the hole is clean. There we go. I always do both to be on the safe side, guys. Same thing for here, if you can do it. Perfect. Perfect. Once you've done this, guys, it's always a good idea to take some carb cleaner. Sorry about taking it off camera, and spray back through it. You're going to see a major significant difference now when I shine the light from the back side. If you look, I'll try to get that in the camera the best I can. I apologize for my hands being in the way, but if you look closely enough, you'll see that passage is completely clean now. There's a significant difference in what that passage looked like now compared to a while ago. Same thing for here, guys. If you look, you'll see the bottom one now is completely clear. And that's ideal. That's what you want. I'm hoping this is showing up really well on the camera. Guys, this is your nozzle passages. It's a good idea to spray carburetor cleaner back in here. And the pickup, spray those out as well. If you look, you'll see there's little holes in this pickup tubes. What I like to do is take that same drill in the little pin vise, run it through, and clean these as well, which these are pretty well clean, but like I said, it's just a good idea to do that. You can also take carburetor cleaner and spray out this nozzle, the little passages in the nozzle there. It's not a bad idea at all. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's a good idea to spray here and here as well, on each side of these as well. At this point, guys, I think I've pretty well covered all the problem areas with these carburetors and what you should potentially try to clean and make sure that it's very thoroughly clean. I do want to note that, as I'd mentioned earlier, on the fuel transfer tubes, I just happen to have an older style, guys, that on these fuel transfer tubes, you're going to have 2 jets on the newer ones that are pressed in with O-rings. Okay, I apologize for not having the fuel transfer tube to actually show you guys, but basically it'll look just like this, as I mentioned earlier, but it'll have the color basically of this float here. You will have a jet a little more towards the top that presses in, and a jet on this side as well. Those jets will fall out, and they typically look like this, guys. They'll look just exactly like that. And they'll be missing the little O-ring, or the material on the O-ring will be so dissolved that it just can't press back into the plastic the way that it's supposed to. Now, as I said, you can go out and you can buy those jets for $15 a piece from Briggs and Stratton, or if you're very careful and you pull them out individually, one at a time, you can get these from Mc Master Carr. A lot of people don't understand where I get my parts from here for these carbs, and I just want to let everyone know that it's from Mc Master Carr. As you can see, it's Viton. The size is 1 by 2.5. I get 25 in this bag, and as you can also see, I've used quite a deal of them over the years. Very, very handy. I think I gave like $6 for the entire bag, guys. and that is very, very cheap compared to $15 for each of these jets. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're having issues with your jets falling out, buy you these little O-rings. You'll be more than happy that you did. Soak them in a little oil, push them over your jets, and you can save quite a deal of money by doing that. I will say that I press these in. I take an Allen key that's roughly the same size as the top of the jet, and I push them into place. They work absolutely perfectly. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. On the next video, you will see me reassembling this carburetor. I hope you guys have enjoyed.